Good morning everybody, and this is your Forex day trade setups for today. So as usual, we're starting off with EURUSD, and EURUSD is still ranging. So there's a couple of ways to skin this cat this morning, and the first one is that our bottom of range is right there at 125.99, and the second one is that it is right where we are now at 122.45. So if you just look to the left, you'll see the top is fairly clear. We've had a fake out last week, and ever since that fake out we had a big engulfing, and we've just sort of one-way traffic to the downside. So for me right now, it is a little bit uncertain as to whether we have broken through. This is a fairly strong level if you look at it, or whether we are just widening the range. So I'm just going to do that here. Now that's technically, that's not a level for me. Okay, the actual level is down there, but besides the point, this to me is sideways, so that's the way we're looking at it. Now if we come back to the hour, the last 2 days, so that was Friday and then Monday, was kind of, we started going and then we sort of just hovered sideways for a bit, and then this morning we've kind of just squirted to the downside. So what I'm looking for is either a buying opportunity that we sort of reverse and start moving back up to the top of the range, or alternatively we break through. There's just too much chaos on the left here. So for me right now, break of 120.226 and a pullback and retest that volume, and we start rejecting this area, that would be the signal that we have some downside coming. Alternatively, if we start forming a base here, I'd want to see a break above here before getting into it. So I'd want to see a break above 125.99 or 12600. So in other words, that right now is looking like sit on hands. US dollar, Japanese yen, if you look at where we are now, we've been grinding higher, so it's sort of, all of last week was pretty much one-way traffic, one little pullback and then a bit of an exhaustion bar, and now we've got a what looks like an inside bar forming. Look at my oscillators, it is indicating that we need to be careful. Now if we come down to the hour, you'll see a pretty clear flag channel, whichever way you want to look at it. So it's either there or it's there, it doesn't really matter, but that is a consolidation pattern. Now the question is, are we grinding higher in a broader bull channel, or is this consolidating for a move to the downside? Now if you look at the oscillators, we have got a crossover here, and we've got this big engulfing one that's formed this morning, but yeah, I'll take that with a pinch of salt right now. There is a level that we are busy flirting with right now, and that is right here at 106.772. That's a level to watch this morning. If we get below that and we retest it, then down it is. Otherwise we are continuing to the upside. So a little bit of a difficult one, because you've got some confusion on EURUSD, and this is looking fairly strong for a trend to the upside, except for this wedge. This wedge is something which is a little bit concerning in my books. There is also another scenario here as well, and if you look there, that was a bit of a steeper wedge, and you can see break of it, 2 breaks, and now we've retested it. So you know, there are signals here for a short, and there is we are in an uptrend as well. So I think, you know, I'm not sure I want to be on the dollar pair just yet. We've still got the stimulus to go through the Senate, so that's probably going to impact us a little bit. And there's a lot of noise around the COVID vaccine rollout, and a whole lot more COVID noise in the US at the moment. So yeah, I think personally 15 minutes probably the one to watch. This level that we're at, and I would extend it a little bit further down just to pick up these tails here. So that's the level that I'd be watching. So 106.737, break and retest at that area, short it is. If this holds and we end up with a whole lot of sideways action on this level, going into the open and then start rising, then go with the trend long it is. But at the moment, trend is up. You should be looking for trades to the upside. British pound, Japanese yen. I'll just start with last week. Last week we had big up, big down, big confusion, and then we've been going sideways. So nothing else in this at the moment except sideways price action. There's our sideways price action from yesterday. Tails to the upside, tails to the downside. Nothing really to write home about. We've now broken below this area of 148.385. Well worth watching this morning, because if this holds, you have an opportunity for a short. Now I just want to pop down to 15-minute quickly, and you'll see a couple of things here. So firstly, I want to take this level and bring it up. So a retest of 148.593, and we start rolling. That is short. I wouldn't be short now looking at the oscillators. You can see that pretty clear. You don't want to be short. So I would expect some kind of a move to the upside. So this is a bit of an exhaustion bar at the moment, and it is Asian session, so the volumes are very low. So what I'd be looking for is a move back into this area. So move back into 148.600 area, and we start rejecting that area on the 15-minute. That is your skew. Stop above the rejection, and you are short, waiting for some moves to the downside. And there are quite a few targets to the downside, but you can see a pullback here also tests the 155, which would be ideal setup for a move to the downside. Even though we had all this chaos yesterday, that's kind of the view at the moment. You've got a break below the low of yesterday. We've closed the gap, the weekly gap, so that has closed. So now what you want to see is a pullback, and if the pullback gets rejected off a level, that is your opportunity to be short on this pair. And target is pretty much going to be this next low down here, which is 147.605, and just pay careful attention what that setups. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Break below 147.600 is going to be pretty bearish. Okay, so that's British pound, Japanese yen. Aussie dollar, US dollar. So again, last week sort of a biggish up and then a massive down last week, and now this week it's just really been going sideways. We are rejecting the 33 EMA at the moment, and let me just get there. So there's nothing really to write home about at the moment. So there's lots of confusion here. So we've got the US dollar, Japanese yen looking like it's extending itself. Euro USD is a 50-50 call either way, whereas Aussie dollar USD is looking like a really strong dollar. So this to me at the moment is looking like we have a flag. There's our flag. Massive move down, consolidation, and we are now breaking. So we do have this magnet to the downside as well. So my bias at the moment on this is to the downside, which is all pointing towards a stronger dollar, which is a little bit confusing based on the other parameters in the market. So for me right now, short-term target is this gap of 0.7742. So what we'd be wanting is, you can see we've already got a crossover just happened now. We are below the 155. You can see how we've been rejecting that. So I'd want to pull back onto structure. So that's going to be somewhere in this area here of 0.77590, or alternatively into this area of 0.77657. So pull back into that area, then I'm looking for us to come and close this gap at 0.77042. Get below these swing lows of last week, and I think it'll be a bit of a struggle to get through unless there's some catalyst that drives us through quickly. But if we get through that, then I suspect this trend of the last 2 days of last week will continue to the downside. Okay, so that's Aussie dollar, US dollar. Euro, British pound, nothing really there. You could see we had a pretty big up, bit of a pullback. Buyers stepping in here. Still of the opinion that there is a potential trend reversal brewing here, but technically the trend is still down. So looking at the 8 hour, you can see a nice pin bar yesterday. that. If we look at the 1 hour, you'll see pretty much sideways, and we're above and below the moving average. So this is sideways, nothing worth trading here, not until we clear. And okay, so if we can clear this area here to the upside, that's 0.86607, so break up and retest and start making high highs, that's going to give me the opportunity to get long. There is a gap up here, that would be my first target of 0.86736. Break below here of 0.86450, that's just going to get us to continue our slide to the downside. So at the moment we are in amongst the moving average, big up, big down, lots of tails, barbed wire, confusion. So it's a wait and see game at the moment for one of these two levels to give. And lastly, British pound, New Zealand dollar, pretty much range bound. You can see we are still in this range on the 8 hour. Massive pin bar yesterday, and those pin bars are always rejections, and you can see what happened yesterday. We sort of got up, closed the gap, massive pin bar on the hour. I wasn't watching this, but that would have been a fairly decent short entry there, just based on the pin bar. Break below it is entry, stop above the pin bar, and straight on to structure. At the moment we are sideways in amongst the moving averages, so until we clear one of those areas, it is sit on hands. So to the upside we're looking for 191.843, break and retest, it is long, and to the downside we are looking at 191.283. The other thing that I am looking at is that block there is your double top. So technically we have broken that and we are testing it, so we should be looking for a target to the downside. So break below the structure, you're looking for 190.331 as your target. Okay, so that's pretty much that. I think with this pair it is sideways, so you need to be very cautious and take your profit as often as possible. Anyway, that's it for me today. Hope it helps, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.